So welcome to the SuperSCADA training video, and this covers blending and batching, the basics, the first one, number one. So a summary of the abbreviations and icons that we use, certainly the most important ones. If you ever see things like a BOM, bill of material, same as a formula, MO, manufacturing order. So one of the ones that you'll use quite a lot here is a little cloud with an up arrow. This is the save button, and if you want to reverse a change that you just made, this backwards circular arrow to reverse or discard any changes. Refresh, the clockwise little arrow here, refresh. Select date and time, you'll see. Filter records if you want to just get certain records out. To filter records. Go back to a previous page, and the opposite one to that over here is a link to the internal item. So you go to one thing, and then if you see this, you can go sort of to the next thing that's linked with. If you see a question mark over a field, you can hover over that for a bit more of an explanation. So you can come back to this at any stage. The graphics have got a few extra ones as well. This particular one with a little bell is the display alarms one, and it lights up red if there is one or more unacknowledged alarms. If you run an item in override, you get a little red hand like this. To delete something, you might see a little bin, and to edit a change, a little pen like this here. And three horizontal lines like this is displays the menu on the left hand side. So you can come back to that at any stage. So this is the picture of the graphics. Now I can go to anywhere on the white bit of the screen and then just move it around anywhere. If I use the wheel on my mouse, I can scroll in or scroll out. And if I scroll out a long way and just say, for instance, it's a big plant and this is just a little bit of it, the button here on the top right hand side is the navigation one. If I click on this here, the bottom bit here will be a number of shortcuts. So this is called job 4, and if I click on this, it just brings this into the center of the screen. You've got some buttons here to zoom in as well, or zoom out, move it up and move it down, and so on. Over on the left hand side here, here's the alarms button. If I click on this, it just shows any valid alarms, and this turns red if there are any unacknowledged ones, and I click it again to remove that. So on the graphics, this is a fairly simple system. There's a number of raw material bins here with feeders feeding into a weigher, up an elevator into a mixer. It's got two liquids being pumped into the mixer, and then off to one single bin here. There are a number of buttons around the place. This says hold. You can just see it's faint. If I just zoom in, you'll see it. And if I click on that, when it turns red, it's on feeder hold, and this would be discharge hold. There's a little button here called sub. When something goes wrong with the feeder, then you can press the sub one there. And a number of batch boxes and information on which will light up when you get a batch in the system. So if you want to override something, when you move over an item, a hand appears, and then you can click on that and force it, say, to run. So the little red hand comes up, turns green to say it's running. If you unforce it, as in puts it back to automatic, it'll actually run on for 10 seconds and then stop. So a slide gate here, if I click on that, force it, it says open or close. So if I go and open that, then it turns green when it's open. If you want to keep that menu up all the time, you can click on the little pin, and that keeps it there. So whenever I click, it just still stays there. So you can go off and do something else, then come back and quickly unforce that item to close it. and then you've got to remove the pin, of course. If I click on a bin here, it's this is the number of kilos in the bin. If I can discharge bar it, save it, and it comes up with a red bar just to show that it can't be used for production. If I can click on it again and remove it, and so on. The current location means if there are more than one wheat bin, this is the one that's going to be used. And you can change the tonnage in the bin if you've got suitable privilege to do that. So on the left hand side here we have the menu system. Now I've set it so that when you move the cursor over it, it moves in. If you want it all the time, you can press this one with the 3 horizontal lines, so it's up all the time. So for instance, if I want to look at alarm and events, this defaults to all the alarms and events in the last 3 hours. Click on the little calendar here, just say I want to go back for 2 days, and then this is the button to refresh the screen, and now there are lots and lots of pages there. If I wanted to search for a certain message with this text in it, say for instance 1.1, type in 1.1, press the refresh button, and it comes up with all of the messages with this 1.1. So if I go back to the graphics then, now it'll come back to the default view, and then you can just zoom in the way you want it. So some of the other things you can do here, for instance on the alarms, at the moment there's no alarm in the watch list, so if I click on the item here, I can then select the item I'm interested in. For instance, let's submit that. So this is my watch list. If I click on the item, then it shows you everything to do with this, the type of the motor, all the inputs, the outputs, what the values are, and so on and so forth. If I want to look at a particular input or output, click on this here. There's another video which tells you all about cabinets, but as an example, if I give you RMX and then I look at the analog integer 16 values, the ADC value here is currently 63, and it's under simulation. So if I want to switch off the simulation, I just click on this to put it under simulation. So if I just go back to the graphics, and I think that is the summary of the basic production video and how you operate the system. Thank you very much for your interest, and look forward to the next video.